dig into some of the details that were agreed on and where there are still potential gaps and hurdles moving forward.
Sure. Good to be with you. I think broadly they all agreed that President Trump's proposal is unworkable. Even the Secretary General of the Arab League called it unrealistic and illegal, I mean, to quote him. And but President Sisi was a bit more conciliatory, and he said this reconstruction plan that they endorsed would be a prelude to comprehensive peace in the region, and he appealed to President Trump to also back it. We don't have a lot of details from what was announced publicly. I mean, they said a committee would run Gaza for maybe 6 months. It would be under the Palestinian government. It would be made up of functionaries, and that Egypt and Jordan would train a police force, and they called for the deployment of international peacekeepers. But beyond that, we don't have much. But we were able to view a 90-page version of this plan that Bloomberg News obtained, and there are a lot more details in that. I mean, it talks about this plan being implemented in phases, lasting between 6 months to 5 years. At a cost of $53 billion, and that Palestinians would be housed in temporary housing on 7 sites across Gaza. And they said these sites would house about 1.6 million people. They also, I mean, in his speech yesterday, President el-sisi said that Egypt would host a Gaza reconstruction conference next month, and that a fund would be created for reconstruction, and he urged his fellow leaders to contribute to that. But obviously, a lot of challenges remain.
Right. And Sam, dig into the challenges and potentially, too, the ceasefire and where that stands and how that factors into this potential plan.
Absolutely. I mean, that's like the really the number one challenge here. If the whole ceasefire collapses, I mean, it is now pretty on tenuous grounds, with Israel wanting to extend phase 1 of what it was agreed in January, and Hamas insisting that they go to phase 2. So if this ceasefire collapses and we go back to war, this whole plan is really moot at this point. The other important challenge here is that nowhere in this plan, at least the part that we saw, and also there was another longer version that other people were briefed on that we spoke to. I mean, both versions do not mention Hamas at all by name. In fact, the version we saw talks about the need to deal with armed Palestinian groups, but that would be tied to the creation of a Palestinian state. So very vague, and obviously that's a non-starter for Israel and also potentially for the U.S. and European Union as well. And also there are differences among the Arabs themselves, with countries like Saudi Arabia wanting to be maybe a little bit more accommodating toward what it calls the more moderate elements of Hamas, and countries like the United Arab Emirates saying that it won't put really any money in Gaza unless there's a complete overhaul of the Palestinian Authority.